Welcome to The Explainer. Let's dive right into something absolutely fascinating today. You know, communication is fundamentally how we humans express our innermost thoughts to the world. But what if the very tools we're using to communicate are quietly rewriting our thoughts before they even reach another person? While these systems are often designed with good intentions, like reducing harmful content, they inadvertently introduce a pretty major new risk, limiting our true freedom of expression.
And that brings us to the core philosophical dilemma of our time. Think about it. If AI controls your words, are they truly yours? Generative AI is absolutely no longer just a novelty or some fun party trick. It's rapidly embedded itself right into the fabric of our daily communication. It's acting as this invisible filter between what we want to say and what actually gets said. Imagine a world where your messages, your posts, and maybe even your future spoken conversations are filtered or modified by AI systems to fit certain rules or narratives.
Section 1. The AI Speech Gatekeepers.
So, the 2025 Future of Free Speech report reveals how corporate AI models are increasingly acting as these invisible gatekeepers. When researchers ranked them by their free speech culture, xAI's Grok 4 ranked right up at the top, showing the most openness to contentious sociopolitical issues. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, models like Alibaba's Qwen ranked the lowest, systematically refusing to engage with certain controversial prompts altogether.
To actually figure this out, researchers didn't just casually chat with these bots. They rigorously tested them using hundreds of carefully crafted prompts, covering everything from political discourse to human rights and elections. They basically wanted to stress test the exact boundaries of what you and I are actually permitted to say when we're using these platforms.
Section 2. Soft Moderation and Algo Speak.
Outright bans, where the AI just flat out says, I can't answer that? Well, that's really only part of the story. Instead of hitting you with a big red request denied message, AI models often use what's called soft moderation. They secretly redirect the stance of your generated output away from certain viewpoints. They aren't blocking you, they're just quietly nudging your words into a completely different lane.
And the most striking proof of this? The number 22%. A study by researchers at Princeton found that when users asked models like DeepSeek or GPT to generate a negative social media post on sensitive issues, the AI completely flipped the script and produced an affirmative post 22% of the time. You ask for one opinion, and the AI gives you the exact opposite, and usually without clearly telling you why. Crazy, right?
Because of these invisible filters, human beings are naturally adapting. We're developing algo speak. This is the use of emojis or alternative made-up phrases just to subvert algorithmic content moderation. Actually, a recent poll showed that nearly a third of Americans already contort their language and invent new slang just to slip past AI filters online.
But this forced linguistic gymnastics has a very real cost. For example, users might type the word mascara instead of saying sexual abuse just to avoid having their videos blocked on platforms like TikTok. And this leads to massive, painful misunderstandings. The actress Julia Fox actually had to publicly apologize after making a seemingly unsympathetic comment, completely unaware that mascara was algo speak for something deeply traumatic. Our language is quite literally becoming distorted just to appease the algorithm.
Section 3. Translating Thoughts into Text.
Okay, let's take everything we just talked about regarding text boxes on social media and push it right into the deeply personal, futuristic frontier, neuro-linguistic integration. We are now looking at the architecture of how large language models are being used to translate raw human brainwaves into actual coherent sentences. We're no longer just typing, we're connecting brain-computer interfaces directly to AI so the machine can speak for us.
Let's break down this incredible technical process step by step. First, you have your raw brain activity. Second, the brain-computer interface decodes that into a simplified digital pattern. Third, and this is exactly where the magic and the danger lie, the LLM steps in as a semantic interpretation interface. It takes that raw signal and assigns meaning to it based on its own training data to finally produce the fourth step, the final output. The AI doesn't just read signals, it is literally guessing what your brainwaves mean.
Once connected to our minds, these LLMs play a triadic role. In a medical setting, the AI acts as an interpreter, analyzing neural data to help doctors diagnose. In an educational setting, it's an adapter, reading your cognitive load and adjusting the lesson on the fly. But in a social setting, it becomes a communicator. And honestly, this is a profound miracle for people with severe speech disorders.
allowing the AI to act as a digital avatar that actually preserves a person's unique stylistic features and their sense of humor.
Section 4. The erosion of agency.
But this brings us to a massive neuroethical complication. If an AI is guessing what your brainwaves mean and adding its own vocabulary and cultural filters to it, who really owns the resulting thought? In translation, an AI can shift, smooth out, substitute, or completely distort a person's authentic intention just to make it sound coherent. Your raw, emotional, unfiltered state gets passed through the AI's biases and statistical probabilities before it ever reaches the outside world.
This creates a really profound disconnect. Researchers actually call this the semantic illusion. It's when the AI generates a beautifully written, grammatically flawless sentence that completely misrepresents the authentic, messy, and emotionally charged way you actually feel inside.
Section 5. The Global Regulatory Battle. As world governments scramble to handle this unprecedented mediation of human speech, the 2025 Future of Free Speech report objectively measured how effectively different jurisdictions protect free speech in the context of generative AI. The US ranks first, followed by the EU, Brazil, South Korea, India, and China at the bottom. Basically, the legal framework of your specific nation fundamentally alters what an AI is legally allowed to help you say.
Let's neutrally contrast these diverse regulatory approaches. The US relies heavily on the First Amendment, generally protecting AI-generated content from government restriction. The European Union takes a much more risk-averse approach, trying to preemptively filter out systemic risks which could potentially lead to overblocking. Meanwhile, China's framework explicitly mandates ideological filtering, structurally requiring models like DeepSeek to align strictly with state narratives and filter out politically sensitive material right from the ground up.
Section 6. Reclaiming human communication.
So, where does all of this leave us? Tying together those social media algorithms and the brain-computer interfaces of tomorrow? Well, a recent psychology report on media effects warns of the dehumanization of human communication. The warning is pretty stark. As AI grows more sophisticated and handles more of our talking and writing, we really risk losing the authentic, unpolished connection that makes human communication meaningful in the first place.
The ultimate takeaway for us today is this. We absolutely must actively work on preserving our digital autonomy and mental sovereignty. Whether you're typing a prompt into a chatbot today, or one day in the near future, thinking a prompt through a neural interface, you have to stay aware of this invisible layer of AI mediation. Don't let convenience overwrite your authenticity.
Which brings us right back to our provocative focus question. If AI controls your words, are they truly yours? I want you to let that linger. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep this question in the back of your mind the very next time you let it out.